Good morning, everyone. That being Bruno Montiero and the Magister, at least thus far. Good morning. Yes, I am awake. I know, it's hard to believe. It's very exciting stuff, I'm sure. Revelatory even, but for whatever reason, woke up about half an hour ago and I'm just awake. It's one of those things where I don't even feel like lethargic, kind of tired, or kind of sloggy or anything. I'm just wide awake for reasons I cannot describe. So, I thought about it for a minute. Tried to find something on YouTube via my television to watch from the couch, and nothing was really clicking. And here I am. Rock me like a hurricane. Keldrig, good morning. Shadowclaw, good morning. Ryan R, good morning. Ebony Williams, good morning. Ryan R just woke up for work. Yes, here, let me make it official still. I guess I'm awake, but, you know, my reflexes for streaming correctly are still waking up. So Ryan R, Ebony Williams, Shadowclaw, the Magister, Bruno Montiero. Good morning. Let's see. What's exciting? What's going on? Well, I did an interview yesterday. Sort of. I was interviewed, I should say, by a guy in his room who I've been interviewed by before. It was a kind of a rocky production. His laptop was overheating at points, and like the stream just stopped, or his side of the stream stopped. It was on StreamYard. I don't know when he's going to post that. So for whatever it's worth, it'll be out soon. He's going to have to do some editing. But as soon as I have a link for that, I'll share it out on the Discord and so on. And then beyond that, yeah, I don't have a plan for this. Sort of. I mean, I guess I have a plan because I have a video queued up. What video do I have queued up? Well, boy, oh boy, let me tell you, it's an educational video. It's a brief educational video. And after that, I might read some news articles or something. We'll see. But I came across this. The power of pronouns: ask, apologize, and advocate. So I guess we're going to learn about pronouns. Doesn't that sound exciting for a 2 a.m., 2:30 a.m., sorry, on a Thursday? Yeah. Games Lames, good morning. Go to sleep. Oh, your powers of persuasion have overwhelmed my... No. Sorry, I wish. Simon Willikins, good morning. Demon Man 57, good morning. Angelverse, good morning. I am I feel both comforted and slightly concerned that there are so many of you that are awake with me, unless you're on like the other side of the planet or something in Britain or 8 hours ahead. That makes more sense. But anyway, sure, why not? Random thing. Let's learn about pronouns, shall we? The power of pronouns: ask, apologize, advocate. Jerry B. Strader, he, him, his, director of LGBTQ plus practice at the Kaleidoscope Group. Yes, the Kaleidoscope Group is a consulting firm that I've done at least one video on their stuff long ago. I was looking through all the channels that I'm subscribed to on YouTube yesterday, and sort of pruning those channels that have since gone defunct or either don't exist anymore or don't post anymore. Things like I still had Splinter and Fusion on my subscriber list, even though those channels are gone effectively, and a whole bunch of other things that haven't posted in years that used to be relevant. And I came across the Kaleidoscope Group, and I was like, oh gosh, I haven't looked at them in forever. What's going on with them? And I found this. So that's what this is.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jeffrey, and I use he, him, his pronouns.
I am not at all surprised.
I am the director of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, plus LGBTQ plus practice here at the Kaleidoscope Group. And the Kaleidoscope Group is a full-service diversity, equity, and inclusion consulting firm.
And I'm sure you guys are having quite the... I mean, DEI in general is going through a bit of a crisis right now because of company budgets, especially in Silicon Valley and elsewise, where they're having to make some deep sacrifices to their workforces, to their spending and everything else. And one of the things that I keep hearing about, at least sidewise, is that DEI initiatives, or at least the amount of money they're spending on them, has gone through the floor. And so they're looking for alternatives, things like chatbots and sort of Slack add-ons and things like that, to be able to say that they have a DEI program without having to pay for a direct DEI officer in their company or something more complicated. And especially consultants, consulting firms. I'm betting, I don't know, I haven't done some kind of survey, but I'm betting that they're having to reevaluate their service prices and sort of aim them downward to become more attractive.
Clients all over the world across many different industries, ultimately to enhance the employee experience. And it's my privilege to get to work specifically in working on how we can make the employee experience of LGBTQ plus folks better, more empowering, and safer, so that folks can really be their true, authentic selves.
Okay, all these quick cuts are reminding me of like 2016 YouTube bedroom videos and things. It's a little jarring. Beachy Cogito, good morning, the gayest person on YouTube. Good morning. Let me make sure that I highlight you real quick. Why? I don't know. Jeffrey B. Strader is the correct. Oh, man. Okay. All right. So, yeah, authentic selves. My authentic self is determined by how someone refers to me more often than not when I'm not around.
And one topic that comes up very often is pronoun usage at work.
Yeah, I don't know that it comes up that often until someone imposes it on you. I cannot say in working in two different. Now, of course, it's true. I guess the companies I've worked for have been isolated from all of this because it all happened kind of before. So maybe I've just been lucky. I guess I've just been lucky. I don't have to deal with it.
I have a model that I've created called Ask, Apologize, and Advocate. So if I'm going to start off with ask, have to know someone's pronouns to be able to, of course, address them and work on this skill. And it is a skill.
Asking someone a question is a skill. Asking someone a question to identify themselves and categorize themselves in a way outside of normal communication, it is a skill. I'll give you that.
Now, I open with my pronouns after I say my name. I'm so used to it, it's part of my introduction.
That is just bizarre. I mean, I guess I could develop that. My name is Scribelight, Your Majesty. Now, if I said it like that, the person I'm talking to might think I'm calling them Their Majesty instead of, indicating to them how they're supposed to address me. So I might have to come with something else. Scribelight, Sir Master. How about that? Would that work?
But for most folks that don't use that regularly, it may feel a little uncomfortable. If I know their pronouns and I have a familiarity with this employee, right, a relationship with them, I may already know their pronouns and understand how to address them. If I'm meeting somebody for the first time.
Yeah, how do I address somebody that I'm encountering in the hallway? I mean, do I address them as a pronoun? Or do I address them by their name? Right. It's like if I'm walking down the hallway, I say, "Hi, Bob." I don't say, "Hi, Bob, he, her, his," or something, right? How? I guess I'd be curious to know, how does our speaker address someone that they are looking at? In what instance do you use a pronoun when simply addressing someone, greeting someone, interacting with someone you're right in front of? When does the pronoun come up when interacting with the individual directly? I mean, maybe my 2:30 a.m. brain just is absent the idea at this point, but I don't know.
Or I haven't worked with them closely. Just simply asking, what are your pronouns?
What are your pronouns? What are your pronouns? And I'd look at him and say, I don't know. Do you speak English? Or, probably more likely than not, knowing me as I know myself, if someone actually came up and said that to me It's like, hi, I'm Jimmy, he, him, his. What's your pronouns? I'd say whatever makes you feel fine. You know, I throw them for a loop, I guess, maybe, because if someone's so stuck into this idea, I just say, I just gotta shrug my shoulders and go, surprise me. You know, when I'm not around, for the most part, you can refer to me in whatever way you want. Confuse the person you're talking to when you're talking about me. Go ahead, just surprise my ears when I'm not hearing it. I don't know.
What pronouns do you use? I do want to make an important note here that we are not using the word prefer, because this is not somebody's preferred pronouns. I don't prefer this, I am this.
I don't prefer this, I am this. I try to make some comedy out of it. You know, I don't know, it's like, what are your pronouns? How would you refer to a stapler in its absence? Go with that. Just watch their mind break, like, what?
So of course, these are just my pronouns. And if I don't know someone's pronouns, or if the person is not comfortable sharing their pronouns with me, then I need to respect that, of course, and I can address them by using their name or always using gender neutral pronouns.
Gender neutral pronouns. What are your pronouns? I'm not comfortable revealing that to you. Oh, okay. Well, it was nice to meet. There's a gender neutral What? I could always address them by their name. Well, what a concept. In the absence of having some customized pronouns for this person, I could always address them by their name. I love how that's an alternative to having pronouns available to you. Imagine that, just addressing someone by their actual identity, not by some nebulous, boy, oh boy, my brain, nebulous referral, but actually by their name. Oh, gosh, okay.
I then want to talk about this second piece, which is very important, and oftentimes the most fearful is the apologize.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not stroke your sensitive feelings in the correct way about how more often than not I'm going to be referring to you when you're not around. Did your spidey senses start going off when I said he instead of it or something off in the distance?
Everybody's going to make mistakes, myself included. No one is exempt. But when we do make that mistake, and let's say we misgender someone, or
if we grow up,
use the wrong pronouns, we just need to apologize.
No. And I've talked about this before, and in fact, strangely enough, I talked about this on the interview I did yesterday. If I know someone, right? Like if I'm friends with someone, if there's an established relationship with someone, and for some reason that is more tangible than just I want you to call me this, if it's not being demanded of me, then it might not bother me. It might not be that big of a deal. I really wouldn't care. Like, for example, and for those of you that have heard this story before, apologize. And for those of you that are going to hear it on the interview when it eventually comes out, well, here you go. And for the sake of privacy, I will use other people, different names. I once knew a man named John. John was part of our social group. I knew him for, I want to say it was about 2 years on a regular basis. Like every weekend, me and my friends would get together, and John was part of that social group. Well, one day, John didn't show up for about a couple of months. And it wasn't a situation where everybody was worried or something. It was a very sort of casual social setting and everything. But then after a couple of months, John returned. But now John looked decidedly different. And John asked everyone that they now be referred to as Jane. And Jane was now a woman. Yes, John had transitioned. And it took some getting used to, because after you've known someone for a better part of 2 years as one name and one referral, yeah, it took an adjustment, but it didn't feel like that big of a deal because John wasn't coming down on anybody and everybody for being wrong or saying the wrong thing or anything else. It was just, you know, and John was a grown adult. This wasn't some, brainwashed teenager or something that you had concerns for. This is somebody who had lived a full life, was an adult, had gone through things, made a decision. Okay, I can't claim to understand it, but then it's not mine to reason why. And I didn't feel, and nobody else really felt, that there was anything more serious going on, but who knows? I'm not a mind reader. Either way, Jane became Jane, and everybody referred to Jane as Jane, and Jane was a she, and there you go. Now, that doesn't change the reality of biology, and Jane never made anyone feel like or started lecturing anybody on suddenly the transubstantiation of gender fluidity or something. So that was a lot easier than some of the activism we see these days. But it didn't harm me, and it wasn't that big of a deal to call Jane Jane, and in conversation with others refer to Jane as she. Okay. You know, it doesn't bother me to say things that have no matter whatsoever. It's when you start, I don't know, demanding, when you start judging, when you start expecting apologies and all that kind of thing. I don't know what to tell you. It just, I can't, at 2:30 in the morning, or now 2:48 in the morning or whatever, I can't quite articulate where that line is, socially speaking, as to where it's like not that big of a deal to me to, I don't really feel like indulging in your personal feelings demands. I think it has something to do more with the relationship between myself and the other person. Is it personal? Is it professional? Is there some compelling reason that I should start referring to you in a different way? If, I don't know. I could get into it more, but it's just an absolute labyrinth. Anyway, let's see what more we can do to apologize and seek penance for saying the wrong thing.
Easier said than done. However, it is important that our apologies be sincere, right, genuine, and that we know what we're apologizing for. So not using an apology like, I'm sorry you felt that way, or I'm sorry you're offended.
Yeah, don't say you're sorry you're offended or something like that, or I'm sorry you felt that way. In fact, really don't apologize at all if someone's demanding that of you. I don't know. Maybe this is just my snobbery about the subject and my experiences with the people in my life where it's actually come up, which is exceedingly rare. Unless you've made some demonstrable effort to change your outward appearance and gender and how you carry yourself and so on, it doesn't feel natural to me to refer to someone in the opposite gender than what they are. It just doesn't. At that point, it feels more like someone who's just going through a fad or wanting attention or something. I don't know. Like I say, it's a very weird line. Wherever that line is drawn, I couldn't say for sure. But no, demanding that you address me in the way I prefer. Dang it. There's I just watched Dune, the movie Dune, the most recent one, I should say, which, truth be told, is a very, very poor telling of the story. I could go into that for a while. But anyway, there's a scene where Stilgar of the Fremen is meeting Duke Leto, and he starts talking to him in a very casual manner. And then Gurney Halleck basically pulls out a knife and is about to slaughter this guy for saying, "You will refer to him as His Majesty," that kind of thing. I'm like, that's kind of how I see it. This demand that somehow I have to cower before your authority over the quote unquote correct way to address you, completely out of context, perhaps, for the situation. And especially since the pronouns can run the gamut these days from things that are in common language to absolutely made up sci-fi Blade Runner nonsense. So I don't know. It's just
simple I'm sorry, or
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, I know
Uh-huh.
use the wrong pronouns, or an I'm sorry,
Uh-huh.
any of the pronouns you use. I'm
Uh-huh.
sorry, what are your pronouns? It is
I'm
important
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. I know not what I do. Please forgive me for incorrectly referring to you.
keep the apology short and to make sure that we're not making it about us. And so we want to just make sure that we get that correct. When we don't, we apologize, we correct the behavior, and we keep it going.
Okay. Again, and I know that there are exceptions to this, but if I'm interacting with a person face to face directly, when am I going to be looking at a person and saying he when referring to the person right in front of me or him? Like I'm talking to the person. Right. More often than not, you're going to be using those words in reference to them when they're not even around. So what is... I've never quite got what the big deal is. I mean, at that point, it would be somebody else correcting me about somebody else's feelings or something. It just... And I know there are exceptions, like if you're in a group setting or if you're talking to two people at once and that kind of... I know. I'm just saying that when it comes to interpersonal communication interaction, it just feels so bizarre to me. It's like, why do I need to know your pronouns if I'm talking to you directly, Bob or Jim or Stacy or whatever? It's just...
Now, this last one is advocate. We're advocating for pronoun usage in the workplace. You can do so by, of course, as we said in the beginning, using your pronouns. Some workplaces have an option to include pronouns in email signatures.
Oh, I see that all the time. Like it's really weird. In my work, I deal with many people in public and private institutions and things, and to see that in email signatures, it's just like, dude, if I'm emailing you, when am I? What? Like, okay. Again, it's like it doesn't do me any harm. I just find it so weird, just so weird and. Like I say, it's very cultish. Like you have to put this signature on there to both show your solidarity and this, that, and you're like, I don't know. Let's see. Who else is here, by the way? Other people have popped in. Jaeger Pony, good morning. Rib Rascal, good morning. It's almost 3 a.m. I woke up due to indigestion. This isn't helping. I'm sorry. Apologies. This is how I entertain myself. I don't know. Austin, good morning. Volume is a bit low on the Skype. Yeah, I didn't have any time to prep the... completely spontaneous. I didn't reprocess the audio on this. Usually I do. I apologize for the ramshackle nature of this. Kyler, who the heck do these weirdos think they are? Well, like I say, if somebody said, what are your pronouns? I'd either go with Your Majesty or surprise me. I think surprise me would probably be my most preferred response. Eaten ass. I'm perfectly willing to call you by whatever name or pronoun you like. Just ask respectfully, because until I'm informed of your preference, I'm ignorant of it. If they demand it of me, nah, fuck you. I guess that is basically it. I mean, if it makes any kind of sense to me, right? You know, and again, if somebody comes up, I used to be, if you can believe it, because the line has moved so dramatically over the last 10 or 15 years. I used to be probably what you classify as a fairly liberal individual, at least philosophically, if not politically, because that always runs the gamut. I was for same-sex marriage. I was for the legalization of pot. I was against the war in Iraq. I mean, by all high-level issues and things, for the most part, there are a couple of exceptions that would probably tick off a few people. You'd probably think I was a relatively liberal individual. You know, it's just, and then you get to something like this, it's kind of like, I don't really care. Like if somebody walks up to me and they are obviously not a woman, but they're making an effort to it, and I don't have any to do it, and I don't have any reason otherwise, and they refer to themselves in a female way with a female name and everything else, then probably more likely than not, in reference to them, I'll probably use a female pronoun just reflexively. I won't need to be told, whatever. It's obvious that this person is making an effort to live in this way. It doesn't suddenly make me believe that they are actually a woman, but for the sake of just, going along to getting along. It's not taking part in somebody else's delusion per se, and just being polite. It's like it's sort of like interacting with someone from a culture that's not yours, and they have a slightly different way of doing things. And the question is, does indulging in this one change in my speech pattern or whatever else, does it do me any harm? And the answer is no, not really. If someone's being militant about it and being rude or being weird or something about it, or trying to like hold people to account or start to vilify people because they said the wrong thing at the wrong time and boy, my feelings are hurt. At that point, I start going like, grow up. It does me no harm to indulge that kind of, shift as compared to the majority of the rest of the world. But also, someone not aligning with what you want them to do doesn't do you any harm either. I guess that maybe that's the dividing line. Maybe that's the give and the take. It's like, how seriously are you going to take this, or can you just grow up and move on? Someone said something you didn't like, or someone didn't adhere to the rules you've set that try to make you special from someone else. And this is the thing. As sincere as someone could be, they're a full-grown adult, they make a change in their life, they want people to see them as a particular way and, refer to them in a particular way, or that would make them happier. Great. If they don't do it, grow up, move on. If someone's being malicious about it, right? If somebody's like making fun of somebody or trying to tear somebody down, especially in a professional environment or something, that's a whole other kettle of fish. But I guess it all depends on the approach. And especially if I'm mandated to do it, no pun intended, at the workplace, or someone tries to like hold me to account for saying the wrong thing or not making someone feel happy all the time. No. What are they doing to make me feel happy all the time? What's the give and the take there?
Or possibly in your bios. If not, right, you can still add it on to write your verbiage of how you introduce yourself by leading.
I introduce myself by my name. That's all I need. That's really it. I mean, if you yell a different name in the restaurant to try to get my attention, I'm probably not going to turn around because it's not my name. That's good enough for me. And if in reference to me, you use a word that I can't hear, I think I'll survive.
With your pronouns, other folks may feel more inclined or even safer to share their pronouns with you.
Why would pronouns be something that you'd be scared to share? Why? I'm scared to share my pronouns. Like if it's that important, why wouldn't you want everybody to know? If someone referring to you by the wrong pronoun is going to somehow do you some psychic damage, why wouldn't you want people to refer to you in the quote-unquote correct way?
And a big part of advocacy is the correction of when we notice folks making those mistakes. Maybe they don't understand that they have made a mistake.
And so now we need to police them? What do you do when you see someone make a mistake? How dare you refer to Bob that way?
We as advocates can make sure that we correct the behavior.
Aha. Now here's where we get... Okay, everything up to this point kind of had a nebulous zone of, like... If it's not that big of a deal, or if it just comes naturally for some reason, like now we get into the intervention part of it. That's where I think the line is crossed for sure at that point. When I start trying to police other people on behalf of other people to save everybody's feelings and to word police everyone.
If I'm an individual who is constantly being misgendered, it's very likely, especially at work, that I may just reach my point of not wanting to correct anybody anymore.
Oh my gosh. Well, are you doing anything to alert anyone else that you want or should be referred to as the opposite gender? I mean, if you're taking no action, you're just a guy, who looks like a guy moving through the world as a guy, and somebody says he in reference to you, and you start getting mad, what effort have you put into this process? How could you reasonably hold someone to account for referring to you as the gender you both are and appear as? That, yeah, you got no footing on that one, I'm afraid.
I'm just tired of having to keep on doing this.
Oh, wow.
So I may not speak up, but if I had an advocate in my corner that could speak up on my behalf. Okay,
so you're not willing to stand up for yourself. You need somebody to be your front man, your proxy. Front person, your proxy. So you can advocate for yourself, but not through. Okay.
Hopefully somebody who I built some trust with could really correct folks, making sure that we're spreading that awareness, because the borderline really is respect and making sure that we're all respecting each other.
Are you really respecting each other when you start demanding other people refer to you in a way that makes you feel better about yourself? Or makes you the special one? Or everybody's got to count up? I mean, it could be the case, and I don't know, maybe you haven't interacted with as many people in life as I have. It could be the case that there's somebody out there who is intentionally setting people up to fail and to apologize and to placate themselves in order to make that person feel important. Not because it actually matters, but because they have such a fragile ego or sense of entitlement that they're arranging a situation where everybody's always going to have to be walking on eggshells around them in order to feel special. Now, is that a healthy pursuit? Is that a healthy thing to indulge for someone? Do I have to satisfy someone's ego all the time? It's not my job to manage your self-esteem.
Being an advocate for spreading that respect so that we can work better together.
Work better together? You've brought up nothing about work ethic, about capability, about nothing. This is all substantively, irate bear, nonsense. It is effectively meaningless. You've put a lot of meaning into it, but for most people in the world, just moving through the world and doing their daily stuff, it is not my concern how you feel about yourself when people are talking about you, most times when you're not even around. I don't know what to tell you.
Thank you for listening, and I hope that this was helpful. And I look forward to the continued conversations. It is a journey, and we're along the journey together. So thank you for your time. No,
this is a stroll you're taking all by your lonesome. When am I going to use the pronouns again? Oh yeah, when you're not around. I'm talking about you mostly. Again, I know, group situation, or you're around things, you're explaining something to somebody, let's say I'm a doctor and the patient is lying on the bed and they're half conscious, and a nurse is there and says, "What happened to him?" And I'd say, "Well, he fell down." Yeah, it's true. I could use pronouns at that point. But in that situation, of course, who cares? Anyway. So there's J Random video I came across. See, Gunfox61 scribe. So would saying put him in the sun eating catapult would be unfair? Good. Now. Hey, whatever. Just as much as it doesn't, it doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot either. It's like, I got no animosity. If I was being confronted in that way or being asked to apologize or something else, I'd be like, no. And really, again, it would come down to if someone wants me or would anticipate or expect that I refer to them as the opposite gender, right? And again, not some weird, obscure sci-fi channel pronouns, but just the opposite gender. I'd really sort of have to ask, either out loud or to myself, how much effort is this person putting into making that make sense? Really, obviously they're not physically shifting biological genders, but just for the sake of reference, how much effort are they putting into it? Either I can just sort of by visual cues or referential points think of someone for the sake of conversation in one category or the other, or I can't. And if I can't, I wouldn't expect anything else but forgiveness from anybody around. Anybody who starts policing me on, I'd be like, just go away. Get a life. It's, anyway. What else is going on? What else shall I look at while I'm here, since I'm awake? And I'm not going anywhere for a while. And my work day doesn't start for another hour. Will I be on here for an hour? I don't know. What would you guys want to talk about? What's on your minds? Is it forest fire smoke in New York? I tell you, this is all over the place right now. Let me pull this up because let's change my. Oh, I did make that work, but that's too small. That's too small. How about we do this, and I go boop, and then I do that. New York is choking on smog, but for these cities, it's just another day. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, first and foremost, all sympathies to the people of New York. The wonder, no, go away, Sienna. Go away. All sympathies to the people. This is not fun. I have been through this many times now in the last several years, especially. Wildfires on the West Coast. I tell you what, they are, I mean, especially for the people that actually get affected directly by them, in the sense of like losing their homes or something, not fun. But I don't know. At the same time, this just feels very mundane. So if it's special for New York, I guess it's special for everybody. For days, images of New York choking in smoke have stunned the United States. I doesn't stun me. I've seen this myself in real life multiple times. I don't know. As residents struggle to deal with the unfamiliar challenge of severe air pollution. Well, here's the thing. You want to buy a air purifier if you can find one, because obviously there's going to be a run on them in New York right now. And unfortunately, you want to get a fine filter mask. Not one of the ones that they've been pushing for the last several years because of the global situation, but an actual filter mask that you'd have on a construction site or something if you're going to have to go outside. And if you'll only go outside if you have to, and whether you have sensitive breathing issues or not, wear a mask, wear some kind of mouth covering. It's not good. It's not good for either way. I really don't want to breathe in a tree every time I go to the grocery store, you know. The smoke originating from wildfires in Canada. Yeah, let's talk to Canada. Let's talk to Canada. Let's talk to California, if we can, about forest management. I understand you cannot necessarily eliminate every possibility of a forest fire, but I tell you what, how many more years and instances do you need of just ridiculous, terrible forest management causing everybody more and more misery year after year before you get a clue and you really need to do something about that? It's not a light switch. It takes time, but good gravy. Outside of West Coast states like California that experience annual wildfires, these scenes are rare in the U.S. I guess I just live in sort of a smoke-filled bubble then, because this doesn't feel rare to me. This feels like just yearly thing, sort of like windstorms and floods. It's just something that happens every year in some way, shape, or form. Let's see. Weren't these arson, though? Were they? It could be. If so, all right. Doesn't make it better or anything. But even then, it's like, it seems kind of odd, though, you know, because, I mean, Canadian wildfires, they hit the Northwest just about every year. California wildfires obviously hit us every year. It's just like nearly every year, only last several years. Keeverdam, good morning, and thank you so much. Hello. Hope you're doing well this morning. Thank you. Spud Gun, good morning. Well, it's Gen T Maxi. Some of the Canadian ones have been arson. Yeah. But okay, so New York is getting a taste of what the West Coast gets just about every year in some way, shape, or form, depending on which way the wind blows. Let's see. Half the world away, however, fighting smog is nothing new. Yes. So New York, welcome to the rest of the world, or the West Coast or something. Wish it weren't the case, but yeah, and a lot of other countries have a lot of other problems. But of course, a lot of other countries have a lot of smog problems that are caused by more industrial sources than simply wildfires. Right? Environmental regulations either are lax or don't exist at all, or are less of a concern. So yeah, what do they got here? They got Delhi, India, and China. Now, I had a friend several years ago who went to China to teach English as sort of an exchange thing. And she went there a relatively healthy individual. She came back with chronic bronchitis. And as far as I know, I haven't spoken to her in several years. As far as I know, she still suffers from that, even though she hasn't been to China again in better part of a decade, as far as I know. It's just, Imagine like going somewhere with good intentions to do something nice for people or to make a living in some way, shape, or form, and you come back with a chronic ailment simply for breathing the air or what passes for air. And then I think about the people who actually live there, like, oh man, ugh. And I think it was Beijing, but perhaps the city most notorious for its pollution and that has most successfully turned things around, have they? Is Beijing. For years, residents in the Chinese capital breathed an acrid air every day. It culminated in the infamous 2013 airpocalypse when the air quality index hit 755, smashing what was supposed to be the top of the scale at 500, according to the U.S. Embassy in Beijing that kept an air quality monitor. That historic high meant the air was beyond hazardous, forcing residents to shut themselves indoors, wear a filtered face mask, and crank air purifiers on high. I think my friend went there in, I want to say, the early 2000s. There's about, so it's probably pretty bad then, too. The event attracted global media attention and forced the issue into China's mainstream. Yeah, because 500 wasn't enough. 300 wasn't enough on a consistent basis. No, had to hit 755. And now we have a problem. Oh, China. And soon after, China launched a sweeping anti-pollution campaign, shutting down coal mines and coal plants, setting up nationwide air monitoring stations, and rolling out new regulations. There are still issues. Oh, yeah, there are. China has turned back to coal in recent years, rapidly building new power plants, even as more and more countries look toward renewable energy. You're never going to get rid of coal. You're never going to get rid of coal. Unless you replace them all with nuclear power, right? I mean, you could invest more in nuclear power, which is far, far safer today than everybody thinking that the next nuclear power plant is going to be Chernobyl. But anyway, but the improvement in the capital is undeniable. In 2021, Beijing recorded its best monthly air quality since records began in 2013. Well, what was it? No, wait, what was it? Best quality record since 2013. Photos now show mostly blue skies. No. You can have a blue sky and have relatively terrible air. What? You gave us the index earlier, 755. So what is it now? That was the worst it ever got, right? And the top of the scale was 500. Best quality since 2013. Well, if 2013 was 755, if the rating is now 620, that would be the best since 2013, right? But that doesn't mean that the quality is any healthier. Why don't you tell us what it is? CNN? What? I know, it seems like a small thing to harp on, but man, when you read the news over and over again over years, you notice when something's not there. It's an encouraging sign. What is? And evidence that the right policies and investment can help fix air. Fix? How is it fixed? Is the air quality count 0 or not? And if it isn't, it's not fixed. Okay, but scientists and experts warn there are only further challenges on the horizon that even cities with normally good air like New York cannot escape. Human-caused climate change has exacerbated the hot and dry conditions that allow wildfires to ignite and grow. Or arson. Or, according to that guy on Twitter, what did he say? I gotta find that real quick. It was the most bizarre and inane thing I think I'd read in the last, at least in the last 12 hours, because it's Twitter. You know, you can read something ridiculous on Twitter every 5 minutes. Let's see. Where did it go? Yes. So some guy, Bill McKibben, who has 398,000 followers on Twitter, who is quoted as being an author, educator, environmentalist, said this, I quote, "If we don't want our kids breathing wildfire smoke, then we need to stop burning fossil fuels." I'm gonna repeat that one for those of you in the cheap seats. If we don't want our kids breathing wildfire smoke, then we need to stop burning fossil fuels. He goes on, let the sun burn for us, external combustion at a good, safe distance. And my reply to that was, there were no forest fires before there was industrialization. And then the more you know gif. Yeah, just stop burning coal, guys, and no more wildfires. I guess. And there wasn't any other context given to that. Like, it wasn't part of a thread or something. Okay, sure. I suppose. Let's see. Oh, I just got but I just noticed a DM from Stay Awake, my oncoming guest for Living on Borrowed Crime on Saturday, which I'm looking forward to. I'm kind of nervous. I'm always nervous when I have like a new guest on one of these things, because like, am I going to say the wrong thing? Am I going to bring up a topic that's too sensitive? Will I look like an idiot because I don't know what I'm doing as an interviewer? Like, I don't know. So, and besides which, and I always find this weird. It's an artifact of, I guess, living a life that has spanned both before and after the advent of the internet, and especially social media and live streaming and everything else. Because when I was a kid, if I watched a television show, which is effectively what these are, I mean, let's be honest, a lot of these true crime episodes and things would count as a television show, and should count because I watch them on TV, and they're of a substantial length of time, and oftentimes they're produced and tell a story and everything else, right? Well, when there's part of my sort of before the internet lizard brain that when I see something like that, I think of it as this a production. Like, there's a team of people out there somewhere, and it's all very separated from real life, and there's a whole other echelon of existence that produces these things. And yet, the rest of me knows, no, this is more likely than not the result of like one guy with a computer or a couple of people putting together something with off-the-shelf software and available resources and everything else, and they scripted it and they edited and everything else. And you can talk to these people now. It's not someone off in Studio City that you have to write a letter to and never meet and just see their name on the credits. And so actually talking to someone who produces things that you see as full-on television shows, in my mind, is still kind of a weird experience. It's kind of like being starstruck every time I've had an opportunity to speak to one of these guys. Like when I spoke to Matt Orchard the first time, or Dave's Lemonade, or Stay Awake. Like, these are people whose content I've consumed now for months or years or whatever else. And in my mind, the quality of the work and everything, it just puts somebody on an extra level, sort of like a celebrity level to me. And then I have the opportunity to, and very grateful to have the opportunity to talk to them, and actually interact with someone who's a celebrity, at least in my little sphere of things. Yeah, it's really interesting, and that's probably the one true benefit to social media and the internet that I've encountered, where there's not really any ambiguity there. The ability to meet and converse with people that before you never would have had the opportunity to, and especially people that you admire for one reason or another. And hopefully that admiration continues, because you never know these days. Oh, you find out something about somebody, it's like, oh no, and everything's terrible. And then it's like, well, I still like their stuff. Yeah, that makes you a bad person. What, for liking somebody's stuff before I found out they were a terrible person? Kind of. Does it? I don't know. I'm wandering here a little bit because my brain is still waking up, I guess, but in half an hour I'll be working. Anyway, who else is here? Who else did I miss? Evil One, good morning. And USP 211816, good morning. Spud Gun, did I say good morning? Well, good morning to you. Anyone else? Blitz Zero, good morning. And I said Genty Maxi. If I've missed you and you want a good morning, I like saying good morning. I like it when people say hi. I'm Aaron Menke, and this is Lore. My sister and I will listen to the Lore podcast when we're going to visit our folks. She'll download a couple of episodes and we'll just sort of like listen along. But we also make fun of it a little bit because of the way the announcer guy talks and just sort of his idiosyncrasies. And it always opens up with some sort of statement that sort of introduces the subject or the topic in some way, shape, or form. And so I remember we were riding along and we'd always make fun of these things. And I'd say something like, the world's oldest profession contains many dangers and mysteries. I'm Aaron Menke, and this is horror. Or something like, you just think of anything that rhymes with lore, right? So you got lore and bore and more and soar and on and on and on. You come up with some goofy thing. That is the driving game that Sister Scribe and I engage in from time to time. Good morning, TC. Good morning. Yeah. Keeverdam. Core. Yes. At the center of every apple is a mystery beyond words. The seeds of life, ready to blossom forth. I'm Aaron Menke, and this is Core. Something like that. But yeah, it's fun. It's a fun game, right? You sort of reverse engineer it. That's why I like the whole TEDx recipe thing. Come up with the title first, and then create your talk around it. It's a nice little mental exercise. Let's see. Sounds like this is CNN guy. Oh yeah, well yeah, James Earl Jones. Man, if I could have James Earl Jones's voice or do a reasonable impression, oh boy, that'd be something else. Anyway, while I still have some time to kill, what else is going on in the world? Let's see. Let's find. I know I haven't done this in a while. Let's look up the AP oddities. I used to use these all the time on Lords of the Night for like weird and funny news stories. Let's see. Okay, sure. Why not? Let's try this, because that immediately causes me some questions. Very last warning for an 82-year-old German convicted of dealing drugs. If he's 82 years old, give the guy a break. What? No, I don't want to get the morning wire. Go away. Berlin. A German court says it is giving an 82-year-old man a last warning to avoid jail after he was found guilty of drug dealing despite 24 previous convictions. The retired seaman, oh, I'm sure it is, who said he wanted to improve his meager €800 monthly pension by selling marijuana, was handed a suspended sentence by a court in the northern town of Aurich on Monday. German news agency DPA reported that prosecutors had asked the court to impose a prison term of 34 months in view of the man's lengthy criminal record and an existing suspended sentence. But judges said they would make an exception and classify the latest crimes as a less serious offense due to the man's particular circumstances and recent health problems. DPA quoted the presiding judge telling the defendant that it was his, quote, very last warning, unquote. 82 years old, and he's trying to supplement a 800 euro a month pension. I don't know. How do you expect this man to make a living otherwise? What alternative would you offer this man? He's obviously willing to work. He's obviously willing to put some effort into it, you know? Could you give him an alternative? Could you find some, you know, mundane office job or something that he could do? A diversionary program, a works program of some kind? I mean, come on. That's just kind of sad. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Let's do this one as well. I'll do a couple of these just for the hell of it. Sure, why not? Alabama governor signs legislation naming Yellowhammer cookie as the official state cookie. Do we have state cookies now? Man, if there's like a series of state cookies, wouldn't that be a great opportunity for Sesame Street to do a little geographical lesson for kids? Have Cookie Monster do a countrywide cookie tour. And it's like, today, it's like,
cookies are everywhere. Every state has own cookie. What cookie is Florida state?
You know, and like,
it's like, I am Cookie Monster, reporting to you from capital of Florida, where we talk about cookie.
You know, that'd be great. Imagine that. Wouldn't that be great? Oh, man. Hey, Sesame Street. If you haven't done this already, this would be a great geography lesson. Go to every state in the union with Cookie Monster on location, eating the state's cookie. All right? 50 episodes. They can all be like 5 minutes long or something, and just telling every kid in the country, here's the state, here's where it is, this is the name of the capital, and here's the cookie. Wouldn't that be great? I think that'd be great. Let's start a petition. or have they already done this? Because this seems like an absolute no-brainer. But that would make kids a heck of a lot smarter. And anybody who loves Cookie Monster would just go nuts, especially when they finally got to their state or something. Right? Oh, that'd be great. I think they're great. Alabama now has an official state cookie, the Yellowhammer cookie. Governor Kay Ivey on Friday signed legislation naming the confection created by a Montgomery fourth grader as the official state cookie. How great would that be if Cookie Monster showed up with the kid who like made the cookie? Like, this is a state cookie? Oh, that'd be great. See, I don't know why this idea suddenly gets me so excited. It just seems like such a great idea. Students at Montgomery's Trinity Presbyterian School came up with the idea of a state cookie. Oh, see, now, okay, if that's not actually a common thing, then yeah, Sesame Street could like start a program like, let's start getting a state cookie for every state, and have Cookie Monster be the advocate, be the spokesperson. Oh my gosh, this would be great. Oh, this would be awesome. Let's see. Submitted the winning recipe, which includes pecans, peanut butter, and honey. Cook brought a batch of the cookies to Ivy for the bill signing ceremony. Alabama has a long list of official state emblems and symbols, including a state vegetable, nut, amphibian, and spirit. Alabama has an official state spirit? Are you talking about like booze? Or are you talking about like, like Casper the Friendly Ghost? Like what? Wait a second. That can't be right. Wait. Cookie Monster doesn't eat cookies anymore because No, come on. That can't be right. Did they stop having Cookie Monster eat cookies? Is that serious? Okay, that is against God's plan. That is a crime against humanity, if that is true. Come on. Come on, man. Oh, it's true? No, really? Are you kidding me? Oh, that hurts my heart. That hurts my heart. Just like eating cookies every day would hurt my pancreas, but still, come on. Come on, man. Oh, that's terrible. That's terrible. Well, there goes that idea. See, wouldn't that have been a great idea? Great little geography lesson for kids. Age them a little bit. Make some relatively simple content for Sesame Street. Oh, well. Woman walking on California beach finds ancient mastodon tooth. That looks like more than one tooth to me. Looks like a whole bridge. A woman taking a Memorial Day weekend stroll on California beach found something unusual sticking out of the sand. A tooth from an ancient mastodon. Well, I would assume it'd be an ancient one and not like, a recent one. But then the fossil vanished, and it took a media blitz and a kind-hearted jogger to find it again. Why didn't you take it with you? Or, mark the... Okay. Jennifer Shu, if I'm saying that correctly, a shoe found a tooth. Okay, found the foot-long 0.30 meter tooth sticking out of the sand on Friday at the mouth of Aptos Creek on Rio Del Mar State Beach, located off Monterey Bay in Santa Cruz County on California's Central Coast. Quote, I was on one side of the creek and this lady was talking to me on the other side and she said, what's that at your feet? Shu recounted. Quote, it looked kind of weird, like burnt almost. Shu wasn't sure what she had found, so she snapped some photos and posted them on Facebook asking for help. The answer came from Wayne Thompson, paleontology collections advisor for the Santa Cruz Museum of Natural History. Thompson determined that the object was a worn molar from an adult Pacific mastodon, an extinct elephant-like species. Quote, this is an extremely important find, Thompson wrote, and he urged Shu to call him. But when they went back to the beach, the tooth was gone. The weekend search failed to find it. Thompson then sent out a social media request for help finding the artifact. The plea made international headlines. On Tuesday, Jim Smith of nearby Aptos called the museum. Quote, I was so excited to get that call, said Liz Broughton, the museum's visitor experience manager. Quote, Jim told us that he had stumbled upon it during one of his regular jogs along the beach, but wasn't sure of what he had found until he saw a picture of the tooth on the news. Smith donated the tooth to the museum, where it will be on display Friday through Sunday. The age of the tooth isn't clear. A museum blog says mastodons generally roamed California from about 5 million to 10,000 years ago. Quote, we can safely say this specimen would be less than 1 million years old, which is relatively new by fossil standards, Broughton said in an email. Broughton said it is common for winter storms to uncover fossils in the region, and it may have washed down to the ocean from higher up. Shu said she is thrilled that her find could help unlock ancient secrets about the peaceful beach area. You should have picked it up. I think I give more credit to Jim Smith for picking it up, taking care of it, and then donating it himself. But whatever. She didn't keep the tooth, but she did hop on Amazon and order herself a replica mastodon tooth necklace. Quote, you don't often get to touch something from history, she said. I could pick up a rock. Technically, I'd be touching history because how old is that rock? Anyway, it's only the third find of a locally recorded mastodon fossil. The museum also has another tooth along with a skull that was found by a teenager in 1980. It was found in the same Aptos Creek that empties into the ocean. Quote, we are thrilled about this exciting discovery and the implications it holds for our understanding of ancient life in our region, Museum Executive Director Felicia B. Van Stolk said in a statement. Felicia B. Van Stolk. Sometimes you read a name and you think that sounds like something right out of a novel. Doesn't sound real for some reason. Let's see. What time is it? Oh man, I still got so much time until work starts because it's all automated. I get a text at like 4 a.m. telling me that things are about to become available, and then I have to start getting myself ready to work on that. What's next? In Denmark, potatoes on Key Bridge cause havoc. Potatoes. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Hey, Ranting Monkey's here. Hey, Ranting Monkey. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're feeling well. Hope you got good rest. You want to come on? I don't know if you're feeling like streaming. I haven't had you on this channel in how long? I don't know. If you want it, let me know. I'll send you the link. We can chit-chat for a bit. Do a Mad Lib, says Ebony Williams. Oh my gosh. Do a Mad Lib. I don't know if I usually do Mad Libs with people I have here on the channel. Red Fawn, good morning. Let's see. Okay, cool. Well, give me a second, monkey, and I will send you the link. It's been a hot minute since I had Ranting Monkey on here. Let's see. Where is Monkey? It's been so long. My DMs. Oh, I have Angry Monkey on there, not the Ranting. Oh, there you are. Okay. There you are. Rock you like a hurricane. So there's a monkey. And what else do we have? They changed Cookie Monster's diet due to childhood obesity concern. Oh, for crying. Then have him eat sugar-free cookies and make a point of it. I don't know. Have him market his own sugar-free cookies. How do you have Cookie Monster and no cookies? That's just... This is an important issue. This is a really important issue. I gotta talk to Monkey about it. I gotta find out if he knows about this. I don't know if he was here for the cookie rant. But as soon as I get him on here, we'll talk about Cookie Monster for a minute. Let's see. Is there another one in here? Is this a few phone he dropped? Okay. Now here's a story I didn't expect to see. Sure. Talk about governmental overreach. Now, this is some Indian official suspended after he drains a reservoir to retrieve the phone he dropped while taking a selfie. When do you know that you have too much power or your public officials are afforded way too much power? I think this might be an example. Ranting Monkey, good morning. As soon as you have your microphone on, I suppose.
I forgot to unmute it. How are you this morning, dude?
I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was one of those situations where I wasn't groggy, I wasn't sort of lethargic, I was just awake. And I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And I sat there, I tried watching some TV, YouTube for a minute, and I was just like, no, I gotta move. I feel like it's a sort of weird claustrophobia you get when you're like laying down too long.
Oh, and, sure, yeah.
Plus the fact that it's like really stuffy here right now because of the weather, and I was like, I can't. I gotta move. I gotta do something. And what am I gonna do? I've got nothing to do. I've got 2 hours until I have to start doing my job for the day. And so, of course, my default is, hey, I'll just, as you know, I'm bored. Let's stream, right?
Hey, I'm bored. Let's stream. That's the way we do it, right?
So did you know that they stopped having Cookie Monster eat cookies?
What the hell does he eat now?
I mean, I remember him eating vegetables too. I remember when they used to like do that. It's like, hey, Cookie Monster, have a piece of celery or something. Do that, but he'd always default to cookies.
But cookies the two.
Yeah, I don't know what he's supposed to do. So I don't know if you saw. Did you see when I talked about the story about the state cookie that Alabama just officiated?
No. When you saw me in chat, I literally just got here.
Okay. So here's what happened. So there was a story in Alabama. They just officiated the state's cookie. Right? They said with the state bird, state this, that, and the other. Well, they made an official state cookie, and I thought, wow, wouldn't it be interesting and fun if Sesame Street had Cookie Monster go state to state and say,
Cookie Monster in Florida, and now we're going to eat state cookie of Florida.
And like here's the capital of Florida, and I'm in the capital of Florida. You have Cookie Monster in front of the Capitol building eating the state cookie and like teaching kids for like 5 minutes a little geography lesson. Wouldn't that be something? Or start a program where every state comes up with a state cookie and make it a whole deal. And then like people in the chat were like, Cookie Monster doesn't eat cookies anymore. I'm like, what?
Well, now all you gotta do is have state vegetable.
That's boring. Besides which, since most states probably don't have a state cookie, this would be a cool way to like get schools involved and like, get the state cookie, and then Cookie Monster will visit your school or your capital or something and eat the cookie, and then you get like a whole thing going. And that doesn't work anymore because no cookies for Cookie Monster. If
you do something like the state vegetable, you could have like Delaware and the state vegetables, Joe Biden.
Wait, hold on a second. I have something for this. There we go.
All right. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So should Sesame Street like create like Veggie Monster? Is there a Veggie Monster? No.
I mean, Cookie Monster basically is now. If you had to pick a cookie for your state, what would it be?
Are you trying to dox me?
Okay, pick another state.
A cookie for my state.
For any state.
Well, let's see. Okay, look, Alabama's state cookie is something. What do they call like the? It was like the yellow hammer. It was called a yellow hammer cookie. It was created by like a fourth grader. It was a recipe created by a fourth grader, and then they made it into the state cookies. It was called the yellow hammer cookie with like pecans and that kind of stuff. Like
okay.
So like, all right, Michigan. Let's just talk about Michigan for a second. What is? I guess you'd have to start by saying, okay, what is the state nut?
Oh.
What is the state nut of Michigan? Anybody know? Is there such a thing as a state nut?
I don't know if there's a state
aside from Gretchen Whitmer.
Gretchen Whitmer,
yeah.
I don't know if we have a state nut, but you could do something with cherries because we are the cherry capital of the world.
Okay, there you go. So you want to incorporate something that is already sort of recognized or like an export of the state. So like what's another cliche kind of thing? So like Florida, you would think something that has oranges in it.
Sure, yeah,
or something like that, like or some kind of orange thing. Or in Idaho, obviously potato.
You could make a pretty good potato cookie, actually.
Yeah, and probably could. Yeah, so that should be a project. See, this is the kind of thing like if Sesame Street started a nationwide campaign like create the state cookie, but now they can't do that because Cookie Monster doesn't eat cookies. It's just like.
Everybody's getting too healthy. Have a cookie now and then, people.
I know. Now, this story is from the end of May. Did you read this one in your broadcasts?
No. And for the record, I will still be here, but I'm switching my internet, so I might lose you for a second, but I am reading along.
That's cool. I'll just go over this. Indian officials spent after drains reservoir to retrieve phone he dropped while taking selfie. A government official in India has been suspended from his job after he ordered a water reservoir to be drained so he could retrieve his smartphone, which he had dropped while taking a selfie. Now, here's the question, and I'm sure the story will answer. Was the reservoir actually drained, or was he suspended for making the demand before it was drained? Food inspector. A food inspector. Okay, food inspector Rajesh Vishwas dropped his Samsung smartphone in a Kurkata Dam in the central Indian state of
good luck.
Last week. The Times of India newspaper reported Vishwas first asked local divers to jump into the reservoir to find the device, claiming it contained sensitive government data. But after the initial efforts to retrieve his smartphone failed, he asked for the reservoir to be emptied using diesel pumps. Over the next 3 days, more than 2 million liters of water were pumped out of the reservoir, which is enough to irrigate at least 1,500 acres of land during India's scorching summer, local media report. Okay. A food inspector was able to make this happen bureaucratically, and nobody stopped for a second to say, wait, over 3 days. Like, yeah, go ahead.
It had to be cheaper to just give him a new one.
Well, but I could see like if this guy intimidated some, operator or something into starting the process, but then after a couple of hours, somebody would say, "Wait a second, do you have authorization to do this?" But 3 days? Okay. In videos that went viral on social media, Vishwas was seen under a red umbrella as diesel pumps run to drain water from the reservoir. Vishwas told local media the water in the reservoir was unusable for irrigation and that he had received permission from a senior official to drain it. Horse hockey. The smartphone was eventually retrieved, but it wouldn't even start because it was waterlogged. Authorities later suspended Vishwas. Fired would be the word I would use.
Oh, but he's not fired yet.
I know. Suspended Vishwas after he was widely criticized for wasting water resources. You mean he wasn't criticized? He wasn't suspended for abuse of power,
right?
Because it was if nobody had criticized him, he'd be fine.
Well, in fairness, he was suspended after he was widely criticized for wasting water.
True.
They might not have known that he actually did not have permission to do that.
Well, that just show. Yeah, that's a red flag for a whole bunch of other things.
Oh, sure.
India is one of the most water-stressed countries, and extreme temperatures had led to severe water scarcity, causing crop losses, forest fires, and cuts to power. To retrieve a dead phone. So he should be fired, and anybody who went along with his scheme that should have known better, because there had to have been a chain of command that was subverted here. Somebody that didn't check in first, that needs to be suspended.
Yeah, I have permission from a senior official. I'm going to need his phone number.
Yeah. Yeah.
No offense. I'm not meaning to offend you, but I definitely have to check that. But how many gallons was it?
Let's see.
Millions?
2 million liters.
Liters. Okay. Yeah. That's a lot of freaking water.
Yeah. Wasted water.
Yep.
And he assured that it wasn't water that could be used for irrigation. Well, somehow I don't really trust your credibility, food inspector, on water quality. I don't know. It's not about me. I don't know. Not like that water could have been recycled or something.
Yeah, I'd be checking everything this guy's done.
Exactly. Yeah, because if he felt comfortable doing this,
right?
It's sort of like when Harvey Weinstein was taken down. It's like, if Harvey Weinstein got away with this, I bet you there's probably some minor characters in the grand scheme that have gotten away with as much or worse.
Oh, sure.
Oh boy. Okay, well, that's something.
I wouldn't even have the balls to try that. I'd just be like, well, I need a new phone.
Yeah, so it really brings into question, like, okay, if he had felt that confident and arrogant in being able to make that demand, yeah, what else has he used his food inspector position to do?
That seems like so much power for a food inspector.
I know. It's like when I was reading that, I was like, he must be some. I thought he was like some kind of. He would have had to have been some kind of major city works official or something. But a food inspector.
Evil One says India water is disgusting, but it's not. This wasn't drinking water. This was irrigation water.
Yeah, this is a reservoir.
This is for their crops. Their food isn't going to grow now. Well done.
Now, this title rings true to me because I have a talk show I'm doing on Saturday, and so I need to know the secret of how the most incompetent talk show host of all time keeps getting guests. Because if I can learn this guy's secret, I mean, I don't think I'm the most incompetent talk show host of all time, so I have a better chance. But if I know his secret,
I mean, I know a lot of people that I see them get guests, and I'm like, how?
Okay, well, unfortunately, either this article is meant in jest, or the person writing it doesn't know when it's satire when they see it. The Eric Andre Show. Okay, he's not the worst. That's the joke. But okay, I'm certain this author is not that dumb. The Eric Andre Show is ostensibly not a series that lends itself to longevity. It's a very refined sense of humor, I suppose. Its titular star, who plays a version of himself and satirizes talk shows by putting unsuspecting celebrity guests through hellish interviews, has become considerably more famous since the series first aired over a decade ago. Aren't they edited? It's like Between Two Ferns with Zach Galifianakis. They just, they try to make it seem like it's all awkward, but it's actually, they have outtakes and things.
I've never seen it. I've heard of, but never seen.
First and foremost, it's one of those things where if you come on that show, you know what you're getting into. It's sort of like back in the day on the Tom Green show. At a certain point, if you agree to be on that show, you know you're walking into one big goof.
Sure.
And in this instance, Eric Andre through his associate, he knows a whole bunch of celebrities. It's just like it's a goof. But through a combination of disguises and an artfully deceptive booking team, Andre is gearing up for the premiere of the 6th season this Sunday on Adult Swim, boasting a star-studded list of guests in the episodes to come, including Lil Nas X, Natasha Lyonne, and John Hamm. Artfully deceptive booking team. Well, what do they think they're? Admittedly, I haven't watched more than maybe an episode before too, and I just saw it as one big satire. But what was John Hamm told before showing up? Quote, we used to worry about like, oh, am I going to be more recognizable, unquote. Andre said of his increasing fame, eventually realizing it doesn't take much to fool people. I disguised myself a lot this season. I rocked the ponytail and the glasses, and I would wear COVID masks sometimes. Okay, there are kind of poetic, albeit sadistic justice that comes from watching the cult show make the most envied in society the butt of its joke, including high-profile names over the years like Seth Rogen, Demi Lovato. I want to say Demi Moore.
Sure.
Demi Lovato, Dennis Rodman, and Judy Greer. A few, including Lauren Conrad and T.I., have walked off in disgust or indignation, but that number is surprisingly low, given that Andre often keeps guests in emotional and physical discomfort for an hour or more, only to edit interviews down to mere minutes. Okay. If they're actually fooling people's booking agents and things, you need to get a new booking agent. Like, do they do no due diligence on who it is the show they're showing up on or something?
Yeah, what show are they told they're going on?
Yeah. I'm in character, Andre explained, just trying to be the most absurd and incompetent talk show host of all time. Once celebrities are brought on the quote-unquote talk show, their egos are subjected to all kinds of abasements, both through Andre's absurd line of questioning and through physical pranks, some unbeknownst to viewers and only revealed later by former guests. Quote, it's a break from the kind of fictitious propaganda of traditional press, I think, he theorized, mocking actors and the stories they share on actual late-night talk shows. Quote, they're like, hey, you know, on set, George Clooney played a prank on me or whatever. They have some anecdote from set. It feels, people can smell it's a little inauthentic, unquote. Yeah. Part of what makes the prank so impressive is Andre's ability to pull them off, even when guests become visibly angry and sometimes threatening towards him. I'm still bewildered. If this was back in the olden days where you couldn't look something up on Google, but how do you not verify that with your booking, your people ahead of time, your press agent or something? Unless they're in on it, I suppose.
Yeah, which is that's a good way to get yourself fired.
Like the couple of times that I've been invited on to shows, I like go and watch an episode or two ahead of time to have some idea of what I'm getting into. Just, you know, and now when I invite true crime creators to come on to my series, I always send the playlist of the other videos to say, you know, just as evidence of my bona fides, here's the playlist and here's the other guests I've had on previously. You know, sort of a proof of experience or something. I'm confused. Quote, yeah. I'm calculating every next step, the comedian said, of what goes through his mind during the interviews. I don't want to laugh. I've done so much work and so much prep has gone into bringing that prank into production that I don't want to be the one that blows it. Would they give us an example?
How many of these shows does he do?
I think it's like a limited series or limited set of episodes per. See, let's hold on. Let's look it up. Eric Andre show. And let me bring up the wonderful world of Wikipedia. And we will learn together because I've heard of it. I've seen the memes. I've never really watched it. Wait, no. Wikipedia, not. How are you doing that? There we go. Is that coming up okay? That's coming up okay. Okay, the Eric Andre Show is an American sketch comedy television series began airing on May 20th, 2012. The show premiered on Cartoon Network's late night. Okay, where does premise? Each episode opens on the show's main set, a standard talk show setup with a desk, a chair, and some decor. The show's announcer declares, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Eric Andre Show, and the opening song begins to play. During this time, Andre runs onto the set and destroys the backdrop, desk, and various furnishings around him. Once the song is completed, stagehands swiftly remove the broken furniture and replace it with identical pieces. Hannibal Buress, the co-host, walks in at this time, usually to weak applause from the audience. Andre may then perform a monologue, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So the show will then typically be a mix of surreal celebrity interviews and short sketches, candid camera footage, and nonsense. So this has been going on since 2012, and people are still fooled by what?
It kind of sounds, and again, I haven't seen this, but it kind of sounds to me like how the Daily Show would do interviews.
I guess, but at the same time, it's like okay, I also guess it depends on how much work they did to set up the prank. Like if they'd established some kind of website a year in advance and made up a whole bunch of fake content to make it look like it was a real indie news site or something. I guess maybe you could see that. So they'd already sort of.
But that's a lot of work for a single person, because once the first time it's done, it's out there, you know?
Yeah. Let's see. Do they have anything on here about writing team? Core writing cast of the show consists of Andre, the show's directorial team, Andrew. Okay, but season 1 was filmed over the course of 10 days with the opening sequences all. No, I want to know about season like 7 or something. Or season 5. Okay, so there's like 6 episodes per season, something like that. Okay. All right. How about season 5? Okay, Adult Swim confirmed via Twitter the show would air its 5th season. They don't tell us about.
If you're only doing 6 episodes or so a season, it would be a lot easier to fool people because you're only doing a very small amount of things. You know what I mean?
But if I come, okay, if I'm trying to line up John Hamm as a guest, I'm going to John Hamm's representation, right? The representatives. And the representatives, what am I telling the representatives that John Hamm is going to do? He's going to come on to the, he's talking about being in disguises and things. So you're not telling him you're going to be on the Eric Andre show, because then an immediate Google search gets you this. So I guess I'd have to watch the show.
Yeah.
Because this isn't telling me, unless somebody in the chat knows what the deal is. I've seen clips of it. I've seen how bizarre and absurd it is, and I can see the entertainment value in it, because again, it looks like a sort of Tom Green absurdist talk show, and that can always be kind of fun. But they keep talking about fooling people. Like, who's getting fooled and how?
I pulled up clips here, and I'm not watching the the preview that you get from YouTube. I don't understand how they would fool people.
Yeah.
Because it's not like
the first season, sure, but like after that,
maybe I have to see him in disguise, but in everywhere else, I mean, he has a recognizable face.
Yeah, and just the name, like I would love, like, if somebody could break down for me or send me an article or something at some point and say, here's their process. I don't really have an interest in watching a bunch of episodes try to figure it out, but like reading this article, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Is like, how do you fool that person? Like, I wear a disguise. Okay. Now, I mean, I guess it would depend. How much work do they put into staging this ahead of time? Because there are several years in between seasons, right? So like the pilot was in 2009, and then the season 1, 2012. The next season was in 2013. That's a year for 2014, then 2016 they jumped. Yeah, so there can be several years in between. But I mean, if they're like having to prank people on this, house band, yeah. Anyway, okay, well,
yeah, I don't understand how people are getting fooled.
Oops. Uh-oh.
All right.
There's my alarm. Anyway. In about the next 15-20 minutes, I'll have work to do. So, Monkey, I'm gonna wrap things up.
All right, I was actually on my way to bed, but a friend of mine asked me if I wanted to come on, and I said yeah, because I always jump at a chance to talk to you. So,
yep.
I'm just happy to have got to chat with you for a little bit.
Yep, we don't get to talk that much anymore because of scheduling and timing and everything, and you're always going on the air like when I'm going to bed. Because it's like you have such odd hours. You're a nocturnal monkey, night monkey. But anyway, everybody,
all the time monkey,
and all the time. Yeah, it's true. It's just there's never any consistency. I should get together and do something sometime. You want to be on a true crime podcast?
I don't know enough about it.
Oh, okay. Or I gotta find a TEDx or something that we can do sometime.
Yeah, indeed.
I got to find some. Anyway, everybody, thank you for joining me and indulging me on this middle of the morning insomniatic stream. Ranting Monkey, thank you so much for coming on and saying hello. Appreciate it.
Literally my pleasure, dude.
I hope you get good rest when you get it. Everybody, if you didn't know, later on this evening, now that we're in today, just about 14 hours from now, if you want to set your clocks, at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, will be another episode of TED Excellence. And this week, the title of the TEDx we're looking at is The Role of Intersectionality in Technology. Oh boy, I can't wait to find out. Can't you? And then, more importantly, probably, at least for my own personal projects are concerned, this Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, because my premier guest is in Latvia, and that's the time zones for it, will be the 5th episode of Living on Borrowed Crime, and my guests will be The Disturbing Truth, a.k.a. Mr. Black Pasta, Stay Awake, and Dave's Lemonade, a trifecta of true crime tremendousness, as I try to keep the alliteration going. So stay tuned for that. And before I go, just because I always forget to do this, I have a Discord server now, because that's a thing that happened. And if you'd like to join the Discord server, well, I'm about to put a link into the chat. And so all you have to do is click on that link and you will find yourself on the landing channel that's called Say Hello. And all you have to do there is say hello, but also mention the secret word. The secret word will tell me and my moderators that you actually watch the stream. And that link is good for 1 day. So today's secret word is monkey, because monkey's here. So just go in there and say monkey, and we'll know that you watched the show, and you'll become a member of the Discord server. But with that, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. Moderators, thank you for keeping an eye on things. Even though everyone here is so well behaved, you have very little to do. Everybody who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. Really do appreciate it. If you were as insomniatic as me, I hope you get good sleep when you do. And otherwise, everybody, I hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.